Welcome, and thanks for being here. I want to start today's episode by asking you to take a moment and think about what you've eaten today. What did you grab for breakfast on your way out of the door? What did you make for lunch? What kind of snacks have you had? What will you be making for dinner tonight? Now that you have that list in your mind, I have another question for you. How much of your diet today has consisted of fresh fruits and veggies, and how much of it has came out of a box or bag? When we're hungry, many of us will grab whatever is easily available without taking the time to truly think about what we're putting into our bodies. We'll grab something from the pantry, order something at a restaurant, or buy something at a convenience store without even considering if it's a whole or processed food. But does that even matter? In short, yes, it does matter because there is a big difference between whole and processed foods when it comes to your health. Today, we're going to take a closer look at these two types of foods and what they do or don't do for your body. When you think of whole foods, words like wholesome, fresh, and natural should come to mind. That's because these are foods that are in their natural state, meaning they haven't been altered or processed in any way. Because of this, these foods still contain all the nutrients they would naturally have. These nutrients all have important roles to play in helping your body function properly. Fiber helps keep your digestive system healthy and your heart strong. Vitamins work to keep every part of your body, from your brain to your immune system, healthy. Amino acids are important for creating the proteins needed to repair damaged cells. And that's just a preview. There are also minerals and fatty acids and many other nutrients that your body needs. If you want to learn more about some of these nutrients, I highly recommend checking out our recent series about nutrition, which you can find a link to in the description. In today's society, it is common for people to get these important nutrients from various supplements. And while that works to an extent, the truth is whole foods will always be the best, most efficient source of nutrients for your body. This is because nutrients tend to work in pairs and are dependent on one another in order to do their jobs properly. Whole foods tend to contain those same pairs of nutrients, which means that with each mouthful, you will be providing your body with nutrients that are readily available to team up and get to work. For most of us, the thought of whole foods brings to mind things like fruits and vegetables. While those are in fact whole foods, they aren't the only ones that fall into this category. You may be surprised to learn that the term whole foods also refers to foods like legumes, nuts, seeds, whole grains, grass-fed meat, wild fish, and even cage-free eggs. Processed foods are exactly what their name suggests. Foods that have been altered or processed from their natural state. They often include ingredients like salt, sugar, unhealthy fats, or preservatives that improve their taste or shelf life. And more often than not, these are the foods that come pre-packaged in a box or bag. And a single trip to the grocery store will show you that they have become widely popular. The rise in popularity of such foods in America came about mostly due to their convenience. They're packaged in manageable portions, require little preparation time, and can be stored in our pantries for months. While we generally say that processed foods are unhealthy, it is important to note that not all processed foods are the same, and the University of Sao Paulo in Brazil created a system known as NOVA to categorize foods based on their degree of processing. Minimally processed foods. These are the whole foods that we just discussed. This category includes fruits, vegetables, and organic meat and dairy products. They're natural foods with little to no additives and are highly recommended for our health because of their nutrient value. Processed cooking ingredients. These include oils like olive, vegetable, and seed oils, salt, sugar, and so on. While these tend to be some of the healthier options when it comes to processed foods, it's still best to choose items that contain the fewest ingredients. Processed foods. These are foods made with the combination of the previous categories. They typically only contain one main ingredient plus one or two others. Examples include whole wheat pasta, tofu, processed nuts, and brined foods, which are foods that are stored in cans or glass containers. Ultra-processed foods. This is what most of us think about when we hear the term processed foods. And for many of us, it is the category that is the most cause for concern. Ultra-processed foods contain 5 or more ingredients and are rarely sourced from whole foods. Instead, They're created with substances that have either been extracted from other food or synthesized in a lab. Research has shown that most of the foods we eat are highly processed. In fact, more than half of the calories that Americans consume come from ultra-processed foods, and as a result, we tend to eat more carbs, saturated fats, and sugar than we should. In some ways, processed foods aren't all bad. For example, raw milk is usually pasteurized to get rid of harmful bacteria, and oftentimes food processing can preserve food textures and increase shelf life. However, in most cases, these benefits are heavily outweighed by the drawbacks. For starters, food processing techniques are known to destroy and remove all vital nutrients. Heating or drying foods can destroy certain vitamins and minerals, and removing the outer layer of fruits and vegetables gets rid of important nutrients like phytopigments and fiber. Sometimes these nutrients are added back in later in the process, but these extracted or synthetic versions are not as easy for our bodies to absorb and use. In addition to their low nutrient value, ultra-processed foods typically contain added ingredients like sugar, saturated fats, and sodium, which I'm sure you already know can be harmful to your health when consumed in large amounts. When compared side by side, it's easy to see that cutting out processed foods and filling our diets with healthier whole foods is better for our health. However, I know that can be a lot easier said than done, which is why I hope you'll join me for our next episode when I'll be sharing my favorite simple tips for including more whole foods in your diet. In the meantime, be sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any future episodes of The Healthy Hustle.